Hello, Studio 108 community. I am sitting down today with one of our very, very own. If you've been here on Saturday mornings past few weeks, maybe you've met Kim Wedel. She is a graduate of my 500 program and a teacher from across the county. Who just, who I'm so glad we talked about you having a home here when I first opened, and the timing wasn't quite right. And then this fall it kind of fell into place. So I'm so glad to have you on the team. I'm like all cheesy about it.
I'm so glad to be on it.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking, this is the time of the season of being grateful, and I'm very, very grateful for you over the years that I've known you and have practiced with you and being, a student of yours, and then, it's just kind of come full circle.
Yeah.
So I'm so grateful for you, Tracy, for your support, and it's just been just very heartfelt, and I want you to know that.
Thank you so much.
Of
That's so
course.
sweet of you.
Yeah.
It's the best when you can just kind of learn and grow and travel on together.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I wanted to sit down with you today, because Kim is a yoga therapist. And so we're going to unpack that today in our conversation. But what's so exciting for me, just being in this field of yoga, which is so much more than just being on your yoga mat for an hour or walking around and teaching a class. There's so much that goes into our personal lives, our professional lives, and how we grow as individuals through the practice. I love that. I love just seeing you grow and then wanting to be in conversation with that. And you've traveled so far since you last studied with me with your 500.
Yeah.
Tell us where you went for yoga therapy school. Tell us that package first, and then we'll go into a definition.
Yeah. So just to kind of revisit what you just said, so I have packed a lot of education in a very short period of time. So once I started into my yoga journey as a teacher, I just couldn't get enough of it, and I really didn't anticipate that to be the case. But I just wanted to I was so thirsty for all the knowledge that I could get, and then being in that role of a teacher, right, and seeing the impact that a yoga teacher could have on his or her students was just just so rewarding. And I felt this huge responsibility, almost in a way that it was too much for me, because I wanted to give every single person in that class the best experience that they could have. And then I realized, okay, that's kind of too much for anybody to deliver. So, but anyway, so I kind of took a step back and realized the impact that I could myself have on students, and to take it off their mat. So after I did graduate in 2019 from your program, teaching, and felt, I needed that time and that experience. And then a friend of mine was talking about going to get certified in yoga therapy. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's it. That was going to bring everything that I've ever done in my life into one place. So I went to college and studied psychology. And then, was a homemaker for a long time, and dabbled in this and dabbled in that, and then found yoga, like I said. And so then when this yoga therapy opportunity came up, I thought, oh, this is going to be just exactly what I can put all the things that I've ever learned into one place and be impactful on an individual basis.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, I did take the Spanda Yoga Movement Therapy certification, and it is traditionally done out of the Himalayan Institute in Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
But because of COVID, they did the entire 800-hour program online.
800 hours.
800 hours, yeah.
So
yeah.
Kim received a 200-hour certificate, and then she came through my program, which is an additional 300 hours, and then she did this additionally 800 hours.
Yeah.
So, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Super exciting to me, and just to get the different teachers that I've had over the years, and where I've taught, everywhere I've been, I've always gathered a great, wealth of knowledge, and so this was a little different for me with it being online, but it was one weekend a month, and it was all day Saturday, all day Sunday for 15 months. And so it was, you love to be in front of people and to touch people and to see people's energy and feel their energy, but to do it all via Zoom, it was a little bit challenging. But
yeah, I mean, I feel like it takes a lot of energy to engage on Zoom.
It does
Like,
for
it
that.
just takes
for
a
8
lot of
hours.
perceptual energy. a lot of
Yeah.
energy. I'm going to explain for people, and I'm going to just give like a level 1 definition, and then Kim's going to take the baton and she's going to explain the difference too, because my guess is you're wondering, like, what's the difference between yoga teacher, yoga therapy? Professionally speaking, yoga teacher and yoga therapy are under 2 completely different professional umbrellas. So I'm talking right now about like accreditation. So yoga teacher is under this umbrella, and the professional organization that manages that is called the Yoga Alliance. That is like you're in the yoga studio, yoga teacher, in the gym, yoga teacher. That is group fitness, group wellness, and not to minimize it, there's a wealth underneath that umbrella. It's just a very different governing body and a very different conversation, a very different governing, which means implementation, than yoga therapy. So then another umbrella would be this yoga therapy umbrella, which is the International Association for Yoga Therapists, and a whole different style of interacting with this practice, utilizing this practice, accrediting teachers, educating teachers. So yoga therapists are a completely different conversation than yoga teacher. Kim is both. I'm a yoga teacher.
Yeah.
Kim is both. So yeah.
Yeah.
So define it for us.
Yes,
What is a yoga
yes.
therapist?
So it's always a challenge, really, to actually define what a yoga therapist is. And so I like to give examples because I'm that kind of person. Like, I think I like things that are tangible, right? And to give an example. But what I really wanted to do today was to actually read what my professor, Dr. Jamie Stover-Schmidt, she was the one who ran the Sponda Yoga Movement Therapy. She wrote this definition for the I-AYT. And so you can go to the I-AYT website. That's where you're going to find a yoga therapist in your vicinity, first of all, and start to understand what they do offer. So this is the definition that Jamie wrote. So it's the professional application of the principles and practices of yoga to promote health and well-being within a therapeutic relationship that includes a personalized assessment, goal setting, lifestyle management, and yoga practices for individuals or small groups.
So I'm hearing that it's very intentional,
Yes.
targeted,
Yes.
personalized,
Yes.
and therapeutic.
Yes.
So there's a desired outcome towards well-being. And I bet you just could, like, there's a whole like lifetime in that definition.
Yes. Oh,
You know,
absolutely.
yes.
Absolutely.
So I know you're not
Yeah.
done talking about it, but is there anything
Yeah.
around that you want to add to for definition or unpack? for us?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is that, you know, the very last sentence, it says individuals or small groups. Like
Okay.
98% of the time, it's going to be a one-on-one interaction. If you are going to be a yoga therapist in a small group, all the people that are going to be in the small group will have a common goal in mind, a
Understood.
common ailment per se.
Yeah.
So everyone is going to be, you know, on that same page. So most of the time, and I have never done a small group yoga therapy session, but I have done many individual yoga therapy sessions with my clients. And so what's important to me in this is that it's a personalized assessment. So just as if you were going to go to a doctor, a brand new doctor for a particular thing that you wanted to know about or that you were concerned about, that doctor needs your history in order to treat you. So it would be, you know, not in their best interest, right, for them to treat you without knowing who you are. So that's exactly what happens. And so on my website, there is a form that you would fill out, an initial form that gives me all of your history, what's going on with you, where you are, and then the goal setting part of it, right, is that you have this thing that's going on with you. And it doesn't have to be like this giant ailment, right? It doesn't have to be a knee replacement. It doesn't have to be that, you know, such deep depression. It could be something that you're just like a goal setting for yourself. It could be like a lifestyle change, right?
Exactly. So
Yeah.
like therapy can be like, I have all these body issues and I want to practice in a group setting and I need some individual help to get to learn kind of how my poses need to be. But it can also be like, I have some wellness goals and initiatives and I just need some support towards them.
Absolutely.
Love that.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
support. Yes.
Yeah.
And so that goal setting. And so each time I see a client, right, they're kind of come with an initial idea of what's going on, but it's unpacking, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of seeing the person from the entirety of who that person is. So this program that I went through is based on the Koshik model.
Mhm.
So we start from the outer layer of the body, and generally that's what people are kind of like, I have a knee replacement, I have a sore back,
Mhm.
those sort of things, and I've just gone through all of these steps, and I'm not really finding the relief that I want. My PT ran out. I don't know. I still don't feel better. What can you do to help me? So it's just unpacking that. First of all, like, taking that assessment,
Mhm.
looking at you like skeletally,
Mhm.
right? So your body is different from any other body on this entire planet, right? And so you're put together, your pieces, parts in a certain way. So you have that, that's who you are. But then there's the taking it off the layers and kind of seeing what's underneath, exactly how you move, what your energy level is, what your tone is,
Mhm.
right? So you can just tell when
Your
somebody,
emotional state.
right,
Yeah.
yeah,
Your belief history probably as well.
absolutely.
Yeah, so the Koshik model, when she talks about the koshas are like the layers of our being, like our physical layer, our emotional layer, our mental layer. And sometimes when people use the word layer, or when people think about themselves, they think about themselves very much in layers like stripes or a 10-layer cake stacked one on top of the other. But in fact, your koshas are actually more woven together and integrated, more like plaid or a three-dimensional gauze where all of it kind of tangles into one wholeness. And we're not really used to seeing ourselves that way, but this is what Kim's work is that she can't just think just about your bum knee or plantar fasciitis or anything. She's going to want to look at like your whole Koshik humanness and how all of those layers of who you are and how you are and what your history is about and what your psyche is about, like how all that works together. Because we just can't pull people apart one layer at a time. You can't just eat the icing off the cake. It's like the whole thing is embedded. The Koshik would be like this holistic view.
Absolutely.
So I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And that
yeah.
really, we've already said so many different like trigger points for people to relate to. Might this be a service for me? Like there are so many ways in which all of us have a soft spot that we might appreciate support. Can you talk more about that?
Absolutely.
Like, who are your potential clients?
Yeah, so I'm raising my hand myself actually. So often I'm like, gosh, I wish I had another one of me that could treat me like I treat my clients, right? So yeah, so it's really one of the things that my professor Jamie, said is that anybody that could come to you and ask you what is yoga therapy, and then the next thing is that, well, I have this A, B, C, or D,
Yeah.
and then the tagline is I can help you. Literally every single person that I see, I can help you.
Yes.
And it could be like a one and done, literally just giving you a few cues on how to breathe and how to calm your nervous system, right?
Anybody?
Yeah.
Anybody?
Yeah.
In the background?
And just like, oh, you gave me that tool, thank you so much, I really appreciate it, I'm good.
Yeah.
To a person that, I'm seeing on a regular basis for years, literally years, you could see someone. And I've established both of those relationships, and it feels very impactful, like I said in the beginning, that I'm able to take the tools that I've learned. I feel as if I do have a gift in terms of like understanding the energies of people, where they are, how to kind of dance around, where they are.
Yes, you do. Yes,
Okay.
you do. Yes, you do. I love that. I love that you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Because not many people have the grace to recognize their own gifts and to bring them forward into the world. So it's a huge amount of grace and maturity for Kim to be able to say, like, I have a gift for this and I'm ready to offer it to the world. And that could be one of the things that people seek you for, is I feel like I stay small. I feel like I mask over. So like there are so many ways that the yoga practice can help. And we're used to saying like yoga's for everybody. And I, sometimes in our promotional material, I'll tag all kinds of yoga for all kinds of people. But one of the things that gives me so much confidence is, yeah, we have classes to serve a lot of different needs. But now we have an individual who's very talented and knowledgeable and ready to help people on a more individual specific basis, because nothing feels worse as a studio owner than to have someone come to a group experience and feel like they're not seen, they're not heard, their needs aren't met. They're still worried about how to engage in this practice. And so if you're kind of like that, you're on the fringe and you're like, I just don't know how to kind of fit in, none of these classes seem quite right, or this one seems quite right, but I'm not sure if I'm doing it to my optimal. Like even a one and done session with you would be like a super start, a helpful conversation to get started. It's just, am I in the right class?
Absolutely.
What kind of practices would be best for me? Can you customize something for me?
Right.
You give homework, don't you?
I do. Yeah. I do. I give lots of homework. I give lots of feedback. I always do a recap of a session. I'll mention things that during a session that this book is going to be a really great resource for you. We can do some in between Zoom meetings just to get your body moving, just to have a little check-in. So each person that I work with, they either want maybe once a month or maybe 2 to 3 times a week. So it just really depends on what's going on with them, how quickly they want to achieve their goal, what their goal actually is. And it's just always interesting to me to see where it actually organically develops into a relationship. And so that's one of the really important things as a yoga therapist, is to create an environment of safety and trust. And so just, going off of that, so I could meet with you, as a yoga client. I can meet with you here at Studio 108. I can meet with you at your home. I have a studio at my home. It's just kind of like deciding like where is the best place for this interaction to take place, so that you do feel really safe and you do feel really supported, and that we just kind of just sit down and decide like where are we, where do we want to be, and then to see how that organically shifts. So for instance, I've been working with this woman who has Parkinson's disease, and it started off with very much an asana based interaction. She just wanted yoga. And I'm like, okay, I'm a yoga teacher and I got to be a yoga therapist, and I kind of want to dig into the layers, right?
Yeah.
But I had to walk carefully along that line. I couldn't push anything until she was ready to go deeper. And one day she just didn't even have her yoga mats lined out when I got there at her house. So she was always there, and everything was always the scented candles and the music, and she had the whole thing set up like we were walking into a studio, and we just sat and talked. And that's been our last about 4 sessions, is kind of figuring out how she's going to manage a relationship that she has in her family. And so it took a complete left turn. And I was like, okay, so that's what yoga therapy is for me.
It's showing up for her wherever she is.
Yes.
Wherever she is.
Yes, absolutely. That's the key. Yeah.
Other examples, keep going.
Oh, great. So, oh my gosh. Yeah.
It's like listening to a book on tape.
Yeah. So I had to do 27 different practicums in order to get my certification. And that's 27 different experiences, whether I saw one person 27 times or, one 5 times and that kind of thing. So one of the very first clients I had was a gentleman that actually had a cardiac arrest, which means he died for 3 minutes. Wasn't a heart attack, it was a cardiac arrest. Next to a dumpster, and someone found him and gave him CPR, and he was brought back to life. Yeah. Most people don't survive a cardiac arrest in a hospital with people around them to resuscitate them. So this person was a miracle and a gift, and
divinely directed to get back in here.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, very kind of new into my, certification, looking into how can I help this gentleman. And he really had nothing more than a little bit of challenges with his memory. So the major impact was he had a hypoxia, so that is reduced or no oxygen to his brain for 3 minutes. But you would never know it when you would talk to him. He was functioning at a very high level. His memory was a little bit challenged, but he realized that he was not the same person he was before. Yeah. And his beautiful family expected him to laugh at certain jokes or to do certain things or to have a higher energy level or to, and they knew him as the dad and husband pre-cardiac arrest, and now he was post, and he was just not able to sit with himself the same way he did before because he was different.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so as a yoga therapist, I had to settle him and bring him into his own new identity and space. And so the majority of the time that we worked together, it was all about, embodying himself, finding his breath, guided meditations, walking meditations, and just to be there to, so I could hear him and so he could be heard and he could feel that he was okay and start to build from there. So yeah, that was very, very impactful to me.
Yeah, very impactful. What a unique story and what a beautiful outcome.
Yeah.
And what a heartfelt opportunity.
Yes.
For both of you.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And then I ended up treating his wife who had a knee replacement.
Oh, cool.
So about a year after that occurrence, she had, like I gave that example earlier, that she had, her X amount of PT visits that her insurance allowed, and then she still was not in a good place. And so she's like, Kim, can you help me? I'm like, yes, I can.
I can help it.
I am a therapist. Yes, I can. So it was more of that physical body, right, that we were rehabbing. But then it always comes up, right? So always something that's going on internally, emotionally, energetically. And she had a lot to handle with, this new challenge that was brought to her in her life with her husband, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, Kim. Like I am like going through, like there are so many people that ask me questions after class and share their stories with me. And I'm really blessed that they trust me and to hold space for that. And I don't necessarily feel ill-equipped. I definitely am cognizant of staying in my own lane. I wouldn't sell my services that way, but I do private yoga sessions. But this is really a whole different way of interacting with people, and I really appreciate what you do and appreciate you bringing this here for us.
Oh, of course. Yes.
Love that.
Yeah.
So if people wanted to get in touch with you, because I imagine they will, how can that happen?
I have a website, and it's one word. It's yogainspiredwellness.com.
It'll be in the comments below.
Yeah. Okay. So so it's a website that encompasses all that I offer. So I do offer online virtual classes on a weekly basis. I do private lessons. I of course do the yoga therapy, and I do in-home retreats, and so it's just been this process of, and also do teacher training. So that's the last thing that I was going to say. So I'm actually going to be helping Tracy out this coming year. So doing some teacher training, and so all things yoga, but the yogainspiredwellness.com. And then the yoga therapy portion of it is where I dedicated the most of my time and effort into the website. So the other offerings are there for you to kind of peruse. But this conversation is about yoga therapy, and it goes into an in-depth description of everything that you would experience as a client of mine. So it gives you, like, what do I expect from my yoga therapy session? If I am here, how can I get to there? So just go ahead and take a look, and if you have 15 minutes or so to read all the content that I put in there.
It's really so individual how people like to interact with new information. I'm definitely a website peruser.
Okay.
And I like that just time on my own to scan mind through and to think through. I like to come in and out of it, like look and then look again another day before I talk to anyone. So I know that also on your page, you've got contact information.
I do.
And that you guys can find Kim here Saturdays at 9:15 to 10:30 for a hot class, and then 10:45 to 11:45 starting in December. December
Yes.
for warm, gentle.
Yes.
All of a sudden I thought January, but I can't skip December.
You can't. No, it's an important month.
It's like the whole month, so I'll be here for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you'll
Yeah.
find her there. So
Yeah.
you know, if catching her for a personal ask works out better for you, she can help you get connected. On our
Absolutely.
website, we just have the purchase buttons to purchase the session. So we don't have so much information about yoga therapy, but we have the purchase buttons if you just want to like schedule with her directly. So however it is you want to access that, you know, whatever your style is, you've got contact information on your
I
webpage.
do. It's very easy
And we
to
can
reach me.
include your,
Absolutely.
yeah, I'll include your email in the comments as well for people.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's the same. It's yogainspiredwellness@gmail.com.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
super easy.
Yeah, so thanks for your time.
Oh gosh, thank
Really
you
nice
so
to
much
meet
for this
you.
opportunity. I really feel like yoga therapy is not as well known in this part of the country. Would you agree with that? As opposed to the East
100%.
Coast and West Coast, they kind
100%.
of are like, oh yeah, yoga, I have a yoga therapist. That's something that's a really in the norm, not so much here in the Midwest. And so just to shout out, right, and to give that, you know, they have yoga therapists at the Cleveland Clinic and university hospitals.
Yes,
I mean,
they do.
yeah,
Yeah, they
they
do.
do. It's
They
it's
do.
a thing. It's not,
a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing.
It's sanctioned.
It
Yes,
it is
very
sanctioned.
sanctioned.
Yeah, so
Yeah, Akron Hospital or Akron as well.
okay.
Oh yeah, before we end, this is holiday week and this will be out Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So I just want to say we have some great Black Friday specials. We have a special Thursday scheduled for your holiday get ready to gobble kind of classes, and come to the open house on Saturday. Yeah, we're so good.
So stressed. It's fine.
She wants your clear breathing. She's like not just a good yoga therapist, she's a good yoga therapist, practitioner therapist. That's what you want, people. That's what I'm talking about. All right. Namaste, guys.
Namaste.